Okay, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is good to be together. Always. It's always good to be together, especially good to be here this Shabbat. We have another Shabbat of simcha, of joy this Shabbat. And so it's always good to increase our gladness by being together with one another. But before we get to joy, let's just find ourselves rooted in this moment. Let's take a deep breath. Feel free to plant your feet in the floor. And let us sing a nigun to help us get into the Shabbat spirit. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da da da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da da da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da da da. Yai da 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 da. We welcome in the Shabbat with lighting of Shabbat candles. It's my pleasure to invite Susan Amaro to light the Shabbat candles. The reading can be found on page 127, and then the blessing can be found on page 120.
Excuse me. We are holiness, we are blessed. We are filled and sustained by gifts imparted and ingrained. On Shabbat, we rest with intention. We breathe in the divine spirit and release the tumult of the week gone by. We take a few moments to simply be present. We rediscover our connection to our Creator. In that quiet moment of truth so profound, alone with our source, we see our own reflections and find that we also have found ourselves.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech Ha'olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. This Shabbat is also known as Shabbat Shirah, which translates to the Shabbat of song, or the Shabbat of poem, or the Shabbat of music. But probably to many of you who have been to this community, you kind of feel like every Shabbat is the Shabbat of poetry and music and singing. That's what we do. The reason why we call it that is because in the Torah portion this week, we read the song, the poem, however you want to call it, that Miriam sang after crossing after making it to the other side of the Red Sea. And there is a thought that Miriam, who we also call a prophetess, part of the reason we know she's a prophetess is because she knew we would get onto the other side, and she encouraged people to pack their instruments, that they weren't just singing a cappella out of joy, although they were also singing out of joy, but they had their timbrels in their hand. They knew they would get to the other side. So in our Psalms, in our Kabbalat Shabbat Psalms, on page 134, from Psalm 98, we have the words Zamru ladonai bechinor v'kol zimra, which means sing praise to Adonai with a lyre and with melodious song. And so with the intention of music and bringing our instruments with us, I want to share this melody of gratitude and of music into this Shabbat. This is not a melody that we've sung together before, but please feel free, as you feel comfortable, please feel free to sing along. And if you don't know the words, lie, 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 die, 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 I, fill in the syllable, it's welcome here. Zamru ladonai bechinor v'kol zimra. 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 zimra. Samru ladonai bechinor, bechinor, bekol zimra. We continue on page 138 as we welcome the Shabbat bride with the words of Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishmi'anu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad L'shemo tiferet v'litchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Likrat Shabbat Lechu V'nacha Ki hi mekor haberacha. Merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshvat tchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Please rise in all the ways you're able. Boi v'shalom ateret bala Gam besimcha uv'tzohala. Toch emunei am segula Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. We continue on page 146 for the words of Baruch. Please remain standing. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai, lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Please be seated. And we turn to the next page where we thank God for transitions from light to darkness and darkness to light, and whatever other transitions that we are going through this Shabbat in our lives. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, vechoshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Speaking about transitions, we've had an exciting one happen recently. And so it's my pleasure to invite up Jen Van Stella to be up with us for the first time as a member of the Jewish people. Eitz chaim hi lemacha zikim ba, v'tomcheha me'ushar. It's a tree of life to those who are strengthened by it, and its supporters are happy. We call the Torah a tree of life, for it nourishes us. As we study and read and learn, we are satiated and comforted by its wisdom, and we become stronger when we wrestle with the things that we don't agree with. We call the Torah a tree of life, for it keeps us rooted. Our roots keep us connected to our past, to our ancestors, wherever their life experiences took them, to the traditions that have influenced the way that we experience life today, and to Sinai, where we each were. We call the Torah the tree of life, for it encourages us to grow and to stretch our branches toward the sun. The Torah is not only our connection to the past, but also it connects us to the future as well. We each are a part of the Jewish future, and simply through living our lives and connecting to others, we will impact future generations. This Shabbat, upcoming to Tu B'Shvat, the birthday of the trees. It's my pleasure to celebrate with you, Jen, this first Shabbat since your conversion. And it's my pleasure to welcome you with all of those present today in person and virtually on Zoom to the Jewish people, to forever be connected to our shared tree of life, and to be a part of the people that calls itself both Am HaSefer, the people of the book, and Am Yisrael, the people who wrestle with God. As you move on to this next step of your journey, may you be nourished, may you be rooted, and may you continue to grow. Eitz chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tomcheha me'ushar. May you continue to be strengthened, and may you find happiness. Can you hear it, Zon? May this be God's will, to which we say, Amen. Amen. So we are going to sing Shema together on page 152, and Jen is going to lead us in the Shema.
Yeah, okay. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
And before we go to Ve'ahavta, we might as well just sing a quick Mazel Tov, right? Ready? Mazel Tov, u'simen tov, u'simen tov, u'mazel tov, mazel tov, u'simen tov, u'simen tov, u'mazel tov, mazel tov, u'simen tov, u'simen tov, u'mazel tov, yehi lanu, yehi lanu, yehi lanu, hu lechol Yisrael, yehi lanu, yehi lanu, hu lechol Yisrael. Mazel tov. It's not a life cycle event if you don't have like one moment of minor embarrassment, right? People singing at you. Anyways, we continue on page 154 with the words of Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We are going to turn to 158, where we will find the words of Mi Chamocha. And as I was saying about this Shabbat that we read from Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea, this is actually where we get this text from. Sometimes our prayer book is filled with poems and prayers that rabbis wrote a little bit later than the Torah, sometimes hundreds, maybe multiple hundreds, maybe 1,000 or so years afterwards. But this is actually part of one of the most ancient poems that we have in our tradition. And so we will jam out to the most ancient poem of our tradition on page 158 with the words of Mi Chamocha. Yai la la, yai la la la, ya la la, yai la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neda b'kodesh, nora tehila dosei fele, nora tehila dosei fele. Malechutecha ra'uvanecha, u'ke'ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, se'eli anu ve'amru, se'eli anu ve'ameru. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai, yai la la la, yai la la, yai lai lai la 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 la, yai lai la la, yai la la la, yai la la. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la. After all that joy and lie-lying, we need a little bit of rest. Celebration is tiring sometimes, and so is just living life. So whatever causes you to need a little bit of rest, our tradition shows us that it's actually perfectly normal and perfectly acceptable to ask for rest. So we turn to page 160 for the words of Hashkivenu, and we ask that God spread over us a Sukkot Shalom, a dwelling of peace that helps us to receive the rest that we need, that we are able to fall asleep tonight easily and wake up tomorrow rested and refreshed and renewed and excited to do whatever it is that we're doing tomorrow morning. Or if you like to sleep in, maybe like tomorrow noon, however suits your fancy. So we are on the bottom of the page on 160. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim
ועל כל עמו ישראל. שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל.
We continue on page 162 with the words of Vishamru, which we have not sung in quite a while, but is so fun. More than the Jewish people has kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. May we be kept this Shabbat.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ונפש, שבת ונפש, שבת ונפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We now come to the tefillah, the core part of our service, and we rise as we turn to page 164. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei v'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem.
מחלקי חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Please take a few moments for your own personal prayer, and when your prayer is complete, feel free to be seated. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי אדוני והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי אדוני צורי וגואלי As you may have heard from the announcements the past few weeks, this past Tuesday, with Mara and Jeff Shade, I went to see In Every Generation, a play put on by TheaterWorks of Silicon Valley that tells the Passover story through the lens of multiple generations in the past and in the future. We watched as each generation experienced their own limitations by the world around them, and the yearning for freedom from anti-Semitism, from trauma of the Holocaust, from hatred and deep fear of the world around us. And we watched as each member of each generation wrestled with expressions of themselves, how they were connected to those who came before them, how they navigated the secrets of who they were, and how they could find the audacity to show the world who they were. We watched as each generation realized how important the others in their lives were, even as they argued and disagreed with one another. In each scene, there was an overarching theme that came through. Passover is a story of miracles, but miracles are not what we see in the world around us. Miracles aren't the things that we wait for God to bring to us in the form of manna or plagues or a sea splitting or perfect world peace. In fact, the world around us often looks incredibly dark and scary and hopeless. The miracles are what we make together and how we are present for one another. Sorry if there were spoilers in there. This Shabbat, we read from Parshat Beshalach, which includes the story of the Israelites as they made their way to the Sea of Reeds and through it. This story is often told as a story of miracles. How else could we explain the sea parting or escaping from a pursuing Egyptian army and a Pharaoh who changed his mind once again, without one Israelite life lost? While it's often portrayed that these are the miracles, as I was reading it this past week, I found a couple different miracles hidden in the text. First of all, I had never noticed this before, but before any of this transpires, God tells Moses the plan. God outlines the Israelites are going to be anxious. Pharaoh's going to change his mind. If we're being honest, I'm going to harden his heart, but don't tell anybody else. The Pharaoh's army is going to follow you. The sea is going to split. These are all things that God gave Moses the heads up beforehand. The miracle isn't that those things happened, is that God and Moses are partnering together in the activity of freedom and the pursuit of creating the experience and the ritual and the moment, actually multiple moments, where the Israelites come to understand that this is not like any other day. They are going to be free on the other side. This partnership is a miracle. The other miracle is that throughout this time of turmoil and high anxiety for the Jewish people, God was right, they were pretty anxious. God was present as a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, which never departed from the Jewish people. Exodus chapter 13, verses 21 and 22 read, Adonai went before them in a pillar of cloud by day to guide them along the way, and a pillar of fire by night to give them light, that they may travel by day and night. The pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night did not depart from before the people. During times of anxiety and fear, we want to know that we are not alone, that there are others looking out for us. And what better way for God to have shown that than a presence that never departs from the Jewish people? This is what God did during this story. The miracles are not necessarily the world around us and everything that may seem like it's falling apart. The miracles are what we make together and how we are present for one another. So as we move forward into the Shabbat, may we think about the ways that we experience miracles that may have evaded us before. What are the ways that we create new with others? And what are the ways that we are miracles for others by being present for them? And what ways are others miracles for us by being present for us? Can you hear at Zone? May this be God's will, to which we say, Amen. We continue on page 586 with the words of Aleinu. Please rise in all the ways that you are able. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. Please be seated. We turn our thoughts to those who are in need of healing at this time, whether it is healing of body, healing of spirit, healing of soul. If you are thinking of someone who is in need of healing at this time, if you're joining us on Zoom, please feel free to type their name in the chat or to say their name to somebody else in the room with you. And if you are in person, please feel free to say their name aloud or in your heart as my hand passes over your section. We'll pause a moment in case anybody's still typing on Zoom. We also keep in mind those who are reeling, whether physically or emotionally, from gun violence that has taken place this past month. For all those names that we've said aloud and those that we keep in our hearts and those that we've typed in our chat, we turn to page 371 for the words of Mishaberach. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We now turn to page 597. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. In a moment, we will read the names that our community is remembering. Please rise as your loved one's name is read. This Shabbat, we are remembering the yard sites that occurred this past week. Arthur Anderson, father of Ann Anderson. Ellen Brotherton, mother of Joe Eagle. Sina Elfant, remembered by Betty Rogoff. Gail Epstein, mother of Janine Charlton. Herbert Gelb, father of Alan Gelb. Isaac Clayman, father of Mira Och. William Weiss, remembered by Ronnie Peterson. And Lawrence Wiseman, father of Jonathan Wiseman. We now invite all who are observing their first year of mourning to rise at this time. And now we rise as a community with our mourners and turn to page 598 for the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shmei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei dekud shah brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing, to which we say, Amen. Please be seated. It is my pleasure to invite Ronnie Peterson to share with us words of announcement on what is going on at Temple Beth Torah.
First, Mazel Tov again to Jen. Torah study meets this Sunday, February the 5th at 11 a.m. on Zoom, and will then take a 2-week break, resuming Sunday, February the 26th. Join us next Friday at 7 p.m. for a family-oriented musical Shabbat. Please note the earlier start time next week. The Violins of Hope, Strings of the Holocaust concerts start this weekend. Tickets are already sold out for the 5th, but limited seats are still available for the 6th and 7th. For more information, go to livermorearts.org. Ladies, WTBT invites you to kick off 2023 with an informal, in-person only event where we'll enjoy some potluck and sip wine while we socialize. Let's mingle on Sunday, February the 12th at 3 p.m. in the TBT Social Hall. Bring either your favorite appetizer or dessert and your favorite bottle of wine or non-alcoholic beverage to share, and let's catch up. Coffee and tea will be provided by WTBT. For questions, email events@bethtorah-fremont.org. Registration deadline is February the 10th. Summer 2023 Jewish camp registration is now open. Check out info on 6 great camps on our websites. NorCal Jewish Summer Camps camp page. The TBT 2023 Camp Scholarship application form is also available on the website or by contacting the office. The deadline to apply is March the 3rd. Purim is coming. Come celebrate at TBT on Monday, March the 6th at 7 p.m. We'll have fun with a music-themed spiel and a potluck. Costumes are strongly encouraged. More information will follow soon. This will be an in-person event only. Volunteers are needed for affordable housing inquiries. Jewish Family and Community Services of the East Bay needs volunteers to help call their list of affordable housing complexes to see when new apartments become available. They are seeking volunteers working to do this for 1 to 2 hours per week on an ongoing basis. Volunteers will receive training and partner with other volunteers. This is a perfect work-from-home volunteer job for anyone who likes administrative tasks. For more information, check the Social Action webpage. Thank you to Joel Straude for representing the worship committee. Thank you to Susan Amaro and Jen Van Stel for sponsoring tonight's Oneg. And thank you to Jim Cohen for managing our AV tonight. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And thank you to Ronnie for sharing those wonderful words of announcement. We are going to continue on that theme of gratitude by saying some blessings. And we will start off with gratitude for family, however we define it. Please feel free, if you are in the same room with somebody who you consider to be family, to reach out to them. And if you're not in the same room with somebody you'd like to share this blessing with, please feel free to close your eyes and to hold them in your heart. And we hope that they receive this blessing. May God bless you and keep you. May God shine God's face upon you and be gracious to you. May God's face turn to you and grant you peace, to which we all say, Amen. Amen. And now we'll say some words of Kiddush and Motzi as a quick reminder for those who are in person. For our friends on Zoom, this is the time. Grab your snacks and grape juice right now. We are doing our best to take care of the environment, and so there will be challah and grape juice, as well as an oneg, which we're so thrilled to Susan Amaro and to Jen Van Stella for sponsoring that oneg. If you have a paper cup for your grape juice or wine, please make sure to put that in the compost bin after you are done. Same with your challah. If you do not finish it, please put it in the compost. And if you have something that is plastic, that is 1, 2, or 5, please put it in the recycling. All else goes into the trash, but food and paper products go into compost. We are on page 123. Our friends on Zoom, you got a whole 15 seconds instead of 2 seconds like usual. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'atzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. We are going to conclude our service
Why were we off video?
with simple words. Bim bam, Shabbat Shalom. Hopefully you should get the hang of it. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please enjoy challah and grape juice and the wonderful oneg. And if you are on Zoom,